students specifically. Whenever I'm working with a group of teachers, I start by asking them, can you teach somebody that you really don't know? Can you teach somebody that you really don't know? I maintain that there are a lot of folks who just don't know the kids that they're teaching. I have a quotation that kind of guides me. It says, children learn what they care about from people they care about and who they know care about them. They learn what they care about from people they care about and who they know care about them. The teaching learning process, above all other things, is a process of relationships. If you can establish the relationship with the youngster that you're trying to teach, you can teach almost any youngster anything. It isn't that people are bad. It isn't that people are misguided. What I say is they simply don't know what they don't know. They simply don't know what they don't know. When I have teachers ask me, I don't know what a kid means when he asks me, can I use it? I know what it means. So when they tell me they're fixing to. Speaking a different language, not understood frequently by the teacher. The teacher doesn't know what to do with that kid. I maintain there are other gaps, I call them cultural gaps, that begin as early as kindergarten, where I maintain the greatest gaps exist. 5-year-old kid with even a beginning 22-year-old teacher. So automatically you have a generation gap. If the teacher is white and the student is an African-American male, as they frequently are, you now have a racial gap. She's a female and he's a male, you have a gender gap. Gaps can't get any wider than that, and they begin there with major misunderstandings. You've got to change that perspective. Now, we look at all kinds of things that we do to get people ready. I maintain the place where I used to work does a very poor job of preparing people to do what it is they do in those places called school. When the doors close, there's only one professional in the room. One paid professional. The responsibility for dispensing an equitable education process lies in the hands of that paid professional. No matter what comes in that room, whoever is in that room should be prepared to deal effectively and to teach effectively whoever comes in that room. That's where the first responsibility lies. Now, there is a second responsibility. I'm going to tell you a story about that second responsibility for all of us sitting there. There's a little boy named Raymond Terrell, who the first day of school, K through 12, walked through the schoolhouse door with his mother holding him in his hand, including his senior year in high school. She took him to every teacher in that school, and she introduced herself to them, and she introduced me to them. She said to them, this is what I expect from him, and this is what I expect from him. And believe me, that's what she got. Every year for 12 years. Raymond Terrell left high school, joined the U.S. Navy, spent 4 years in the Navy, got out, entered Miami University, paying his own way with a GI Bill. First semester got on probation. Went back to his dorm one evening. 1 minute. And his stereo set was gone. Went to the door and somebody stole my stereo. I said, no, he didn't. So your mom came up here and took your stereo. She followed me to college. And when I was 21 years old, she didn't stop at the 12th grade. She came to the university. Folks, that's our responsibility also. We've got to follow them, and we've got to hold their hands, and we've got to be there with them, K through 16, all the way. That's our responsibility.
Good evening. My name is Audley Smith. I'm a guidance counselor at Schroeder High School. I've had the opportunity to work in another school district that would be considered one of the best in the state. It's a school district that is in suburbia, but it has an urban complexion. The reason why I mentioned that to you is because when the question came out, the state of black education, it made me reflect about the experiences that I've had in terms of working in 2 different districts. Like at the present time, I'm working in Cincinnati Public Schools, which is highly populated with Afro-Americans. And so when we were asking the questions about the difference between the 2 districts, because the students looked the same, but there was a difference in terms of the students in this suburban district of energy, determination, and pride. They kind of understood the fact that they needed an education to be successful. And now being in Cincinnati Public Schools, there's a difference in terms of attitude that many of our students think in terms of entitlement, that they should be given certain privileges, that they should be given an education. And it seems that we have gotten away from the idea that we have to go get it, that we have to be determined, that nobody is going to give you anything. And we ask the question, why don't they have that sense of understanding that this world is a world that says that we will not give you anything, we owe you nothing. Dr. Terrell was talking about equity in so many ways in terms of the achievement gap and the culture gap that we are in. Our kids many times do not see that many people do not want them to be successful, that they want them to be a statistic. And it's important that we as a community monitor our educational system, that we go to our schools, that we participate and we're involved. Many times we can't be at every meeting, but we have to be involved by even sending an advocate for us. Because when they see us, it makes a whole different attitude in terms of that teacher and that student relationship. When they know that that student has somebody that supports them, then they're going to be more conscious about how they work with that student. But again, we have to continue to teach our students about the importance of education. I think we have assumed that they understand that education is important. There was a news report that came out that said that the money that a person would invest in an education was not that important, that they could take that money and invest it somewhere else and make more money. And I'm here to tell you that personal and human development is more important than materialistic gain. We must develop our young people if we want to survive as a people. As we can, let's say maybe 10 years from now, we will be in the minority based on the fact there will be another majority, and that majority will not be the white culture or the white man. And so we have to realize that we have to continue to educate our kids. Our kids have to be models for each other. One of the other points that I wanted to address is that as we look at education, we have to understand that we are really not there. As an educator, many times we have programs. We have something like in our school, and I'm just going to give you an example. I hate to use this example because I don't want you thinking that we as a school are not doing what we need to do, or that our parents are not good parents. But sometimes we have to ask our question, what are we willing to sacrifice for our child to have a good education? We always use the example, I said this to a group of people, and I said, one of your most precious gifts many times is a materialistic, it might be material, like your wedding ring. Would you leave your wedding ring with somebody for 9 months and not check on it? Would you really do that? And I'm in situations where children come to our school and we never see their parents. And again, I'm saying, this is not criticism, it's just, we have to work with each other. You know, we have to be that, that village. We have to, when we have a child in school, and we might have a neighbor who has a child in school, we have to remind those neighbors many times when they're not participating, you need to come. You need to be involved. You need to understand that is an investment for your child. They deserve an education. And so the plight, as we look at the state of black education today, I think the news reports are very clear. Look at Atlanta, the Atlanta public schools, and how we disvalue education in terms of making sure our kids learn and put more value on test results.